You're listening to Live in Studio B. I'm with the Screaming Trees from Washington, Ellensburg to be exact. And I'm going to talk to, I think it is Gary Lee.
Yeah.
You go by Gary or Gary Lee?
I go by Lee.
You go by Lee. Okay, that's right. I talked to you on the phone.
Yeah.
My name's Killer B, and this is KCPR, San Luis Obispo. And like I said, this is Live in Studio B with the Screaming Trees. And we're going to venture in talking to these boys who drove all the way from Portland. They look tired, but they're playing good. So let's move along. How is Velvetone Records? You just recently released the record. How are they to work with?
Pretty good. This is the first thing they've done, and they've really given us a lot of help on it. It's basically what it is. It's Ellensburg, Washington. It's a real small town in the middle of Washington State, and there's this guy named Steve Fisk who used to be in a band called Pell Mell, and he ended up there because he went to college there. And him and this other guy started the record company, and we're the first band they've really done anything with, and so far it's working out.
So does that mean you're all from Ellensburg? Or?
Yeah, we're all from Ellensburg, right?
Seems like I talked to your light man. You guys all grew up together, or you've known each other for quite a long time?
A lot of us, yeah. Between all of us, we've all known each other for...
So how long has the band been together then?
Just a year. It's a little over a year.
Three of us have been playing together.
Yeah. Three of us have been playing together in different bands for 4 years, but this band with original stuff has just been together a year.
So who writes the music?
I do, and Mark Lanigan, the vocalist, does, and then pretty much everything comes together when we get in the group. Van's written some stuff too.
So it sounds like everybody puts in.
Yeah, it's like a joint effort. Definitely, it's a joint effort.
Very good. What about influences?
A lot of 60s stuff. I don't know.
Anybody in particular?
Love, 13th Floor Elevators, what else? Doors, stuff like that.
Our own Paisley the Warrior would be glad to hear that. Too bad he's not here to hear that. No pushing allowed. This is live radio, come on. I'm over here talking, this is Mark, right? The lead vocalist for Screaming Trees. And talk to you. Who have you played with recently?
Well, last night we played with the Wipers up in Portland. It was a really cool show. Got kind of crazy. The Wipers, they're real cool.
How's Greg Sage?
He's doing good. We're going to see him in L.A. On the 19th. Bum around with him for a while down there.
I understand you're playing with Salem 66.
Yeah, that's what they tell me.
So I say you've never met.
No, but I listen to records. I like them a lot. They're cool.
All right. So have you played outside of the Washington area at all?
No, basically Seattle, Portland, Olympia.
A lot of good response, huh?
Yeah, so far.
Otherwise you wouldn't be here.
I guess not.
Well, your album cover looks really good, and we just got it in yesterday, so you're going to be hearing a lot of it. Be actually getting in to the standard rotation as of Monday, so you're going to hear more of what you're hearing right now, and I think Bruce has some more words to say before we move on into more music.
Gee, thank you, Brian. I guess we got to introduce everybody real quick, and just want you to say who you are and what you do.
I'm Mark Pickerel, and I play the drums.
You can call him Pickerel, though.
I'm Van, I play the bass.
Okay.
You just met me, I think. My name's Mark.
He's vocals, and Gary on guitar. Just looking at the album real quick, it conjures up images of psychedelic. Is that a bad image to conjure up?
Well, not necessarily. I don't consider us a psychedelic band. So far, a few reviews have said, psychedelic tinge, but we don't, set out to be that way. It just kind of comes out, I guess.
Now, Stephen Fisk is the man who started the label, as well as produced the record with you guys. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Did that seem to pose any problems, considering that he had a financial interest in the record as well as producing it?
Well, he doesn't really have financial interest. His boss, Sam Albright, does. Yeah, he just basically works for the company.
Pick, we were talking about the Portland music scene, and you said you were from Ellensburg, but you still want to talk about the Portland music scene. Yeah, let's just basically what's happening up in the state of Washington as far as music goes, and then maybe how is so far California? Has it opened your eyes to anything?
Well, there's not too much going on in Washington. There's a few bands in, what? Oh, there's a band called Beat Happening. They're really good. A friend of ours, Calvin Johnson's in that band, and I think they'll be down in California maybe this summer. And there's some bands in Seattle playing, and east of Seattle there's hardly anything going on at all, but we're trying to change that, I guess.
Is when the band plays, is it Are there a lot of clubs available to you, or is it people's backyards and parties, or how does that work out?
Well, we've only done one show in Ellensburg because there's not really a music club there. There's a tavern. There's a couple taverns there, but they're not really into original acts. They're more into the top 40 scene and stuff. So when we play, it's either in Seattle, Olympia, or we haven't really played too many shows. We're just really starting to get going right now, and hope that California works out really well.
So is it safe to say that this album is being geared towards college radio then?
Yeah.
Got mailed out to all local. Thank you very much. An English major. Van, talking about the new record, is there anything that you would do differently as an individual musician or as a band on this record? Like, let's say if I came in and said, hey, I love you guys, I want to do it all over again. What would you do?
First, I'd kick all three of these guys out of the band. Just kidding. Actually, thanks. I think that we kind of went. I mean, it's a good album. I love it. It's a great album. But if we were to go back and do it all, we'd probably do it the same way because we're that way. But if I was in charge of the project, I probably would have wanted to do it on a more track studio. So we did it in an 8-track studio. It's like a big studio and everything, but for some reason they have an 8-track, and and that just kind of posed problems like with the drum sound and stuff. But it turned out really good. We were like surprised.
How do you feel in the short period of time the band has been playing together? How do you feel the band comes across in their live performances?
That's been like a plus. We were surprised about that. Oh, yeah. Well, we won't talk about that. But, yeah, live performance, people always, for some reason, we come across as being different than our record or our music sometimes. I think it's because we do the music and everything and on the record, and we're pretty, mellow and everything. And then we go and we play on stage and kind of we play our songs a lot different on live than we do on the record, so a lot more up-tempo, and like in here it's like not really too exciting. I mean, we can't smash anything.
Well, the show isn't over yet. I mean, give us time.
Well, if you guys, if you guys got like a waiver thing we could sign, we could smash up the place.
Sure, we'll bring in the strobes and start with the gas. One more thing. Oh, we have some records to be given away this evening, so we'll be doing that real quick. And just a quick reminder that Screaming Trees will be opening up for Mojo Nixon tomorrow night, 2 shows, 7 and 10 p.m. And if you don't have your tickets already, I would suggest look for some scalpers out in front, because I believe the shows are both sold out. So if you do have your tickets, make sure you get down there early to see the Screaming Trees. That's right, bleachers will be set up on the street. So as the band gets back towards their instruments, I will remind you that you are listening to Live in Studio B. My name is Bruce Floor, along with the Killer B. And what are we going to hear from you guys this time?
It's a song called Lonely Girl.
Can you describe that, or is it self-explanatory?
Probably self-explanatory.
Okay, this is Lonely Girl from Screaming Trees in Live in Studio B.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Well,
listening to Live in Studio B on the Killer B along with Bruce Floor, and we're talking to Screaming Trees from Washington State. And I'm here with the guitarist Gary, or as in Lee, I'll get this straight one of these times. And I think what we're going to do right now is we're going to give away some LPs. I think we have we have three to give away, so cassettes as well. Right now we're just going to give away 3 LPs for the 6th, 7th, and 8th caller at 544-4640. This is a Screaming Trees brand new LP called Clairvoynace. And on that note, we're going to be right back after this message.
You're listening to Live in Studio B, brought to you by the Music Factory and KCPR. The Music Factory rents sound systems and lighting equipment for your special function.
On the note of the album, Clairvoyant, where does that come from?
It's Clairvoyance. It's whatever. It's like ESP. We just came up with it out of the blue on that one song. We decided it's the title track. It's the last song on the album, and we just decided to call it that. I don't know. It might mean something.
So that doesn't mean any of you are clairvoyant.
Not really.
Clairvoyant hopefuls.
My mom is. I don't know. She always thinks she is.
Where does the name of the band Screaming Trees come from? Who thought it up, or did you see it somewhere, or what?
Geez, I don't know. Maybe it's because Ellensburg's a Tree City, USA. I don't know. No, really, we just came up with it, and we don't know why. It was an accident, and now we're stuck with it. So we're stuck with it.
I'm gonna jump over here and talk to it's Mark again, right? But you go by Mark. You said something different.
Drummer Mark, that's why
I want to remind the listeners out there, this is Live in Studio B. I'm the Killer B along with Bruce Floor, and we are talking to Screaming Trees. We're opening tomorrow evening for Mojo, Nixon, and Skid Roper at the Dark Room downtown. So you might want to catch those shows. Tickets are selling fast, or they might already be sold. So you might be stuck out on the street. Anyway, back to Screaming Trees. The album's dedicated to Warren M. Center. Is that correct? Did I get that right?
Correct, but I'm not the one who dedicated it to him, so...
I'm going to have to bounce back across the room again. Lee, here we go.
Answer? It was my grandfather. He just died about a year ago, and he kind of would help get us into music. His whole family we're all musicians, and my mom was, and it just kind of, was one of those things that, since it was our first album, we kind of felt it was kind of appropriate.
Well, that's good. That was a nice thought. I'm going to bounce right back over here again. Traveling time here. Let me get into another question. Mark, what was the last record you bought?
Thank God. What was it? Well, I work at a record shop, and I bring home, like, about 5 albums a week, so I...
Then what's your latest favorite?
There's
got to be something.
God, this is really hard.
Pick 5. Pick 10.
Pick 5.
Well, I mean, what?
Somebody help me.
You can base it on your influences.
No, not slow. He likes slow. I like, see, what was the last one I got? I have a really hard time picking, like, 1 or 2 or even 3 or 4.
Well, let's make it easier for you. Who do you listen to?
I like the Wipers a lot. We played with them last night. I listened to them quite a bit. I like REM. I like Love and Rockets. I like Husker Du. I don't know. Lots of stuff.
Yeah, you'll have to see Love and Rockets. They're going to be in California here pretty quick. In fact, middle of December, I believe, between San Francisco and Los Angeles.
They might do this show. Who knows?
Hey, well, we'll at least get them in here to interview.
Ask another good question.
No, you ask another good question. I'm out of questions, but you're not. You've got a full list.
Thanks.
Here with Bruce Floor. Something like that.
Boy. I'd like to say congratulations to Eric Pryor, John Lang, and Mitchell Gonzalez. They all won the Screaming Trees album. And we also had a caller. Were you guys discussing how you got your name while I was on the phone? Somebody called and said you guys are Screaming Trees because you're higher than hell. I don't know. Is that true? I don't know. Maybe he knows something we don't know. Higher than hell. That's what he said. Yeah, you remember that album. So, anyways, let's talk about some clubs you're gonna be playing down in L.A. Do you know the names of them? Or you already have obviously some shows booked, right?
Yeah. Okay. It's kind of strange from here on. It kind of gets into the bizarre and supernatural.
You're in the right place. Here we go.
On the tour. Okay. We go. I don't know where we're going. Well, tomorrow we're playing. Tomorrow night, and then after that, we have like 2 days off of just bumming around in L.A. So, and then we play at Texas Records, right? I guess with Salem 66, and after that, Santa Barbara at a record store by ourselves. We play with the Donner Party in Santa Cruz at Diane's. Yeah, and is that it? San Francisco. Where?
Why didn't I just ask Lee this question? You're just...
I mean, you should see me. I'm like crammed underneath the equipment in the bus sleeping. And I just was thrown into this thing.
Sure. Moan. Lee. See, it's Lee. The worst experience the band has had on stage so far?
On stage, or?
I don't want to hear your off-stage experiences, please.
Okay, well, let's see. We played in this place in Yakima that was an apple barn, and we played with this other band, and they kept playing forever. We were supposed to play last, and they played for an hour and a half or 2 hours, and we were supposed to play for half an hour. So by the time we got on, hardly anyone was there. And also, this place was it was like an apple barn. It's like a half circle, and it's like about 50 feet across, and so it's just like playing inside a drum, and it was a worse sound. It was terrible.
It's kind of like our gym.
Yeah. No, let's talk about the cassette that came out before the album. Who produced it? Was that on your own? Did you guys finance that? Is it the same stuff?
Well, yeah, what we did was about a year ago we went into the studio, the same place we did the album, and we just had some songs we wanted to record, and we recorded those, and that's kind of how we got hooked up with the record company and stuff. We did that by ourselves and released it by ourselves, even though it is on Velvetone.
Now, it's probably a little early to tell since the album just came out, but let's say another independent label comes up, and thank you very much, and another independent label comes and approaches you guys about distributing the record. Obviously, you'd go for it?
Yeah, I think so. The thing is, right now we've moved 1,000 records in a week already, almost, and we got to get a second pressing already. It's amazing. I don't know what happened.
When you say move the...
I don't know. We just got the record in last Friday, and we've already got almost all of them out the door to distributors, and we haven't even got some of the major distributors like Rough Trade and stuff like that.
I was gonna say, who is distributing?
Systematic, a place called IRE Kaleidoscope. Rough Trade's going to be GEM, which is GEM. Important. I think General Record Distributors. We got tons of them. Budget Records. They're going to carry it.
Why do you think there's so much excitement about the band when the album has just come out?
I don't know. I think maybe the thing is there's a lot of people who try to get an independent record out. They just don't. Either maybe they don't have the right connections or something because it's been too easy or something. I don't know. It's weird.
Does it mean Steve helped out? Is that his department?
Well, he knows a lot of people, but not in the way that is going to make us just because of his name. I mean, we haven't gone, especially because his stuff's a lot different than what we do.
Who gets the credit?
We do. I don't think he hasn't really it's not like Steve Fisk and the Screaming Trees or anything. He played on a few. To understand where we are, we're in Ellensburg, which is 100 miles away from Seattle. It's over the mountains and it's isolated from Seattle. And it seems like all the bands from Seattle end up just playing in Seattle and trying to get famous in Seattle, whereas we've just come out of nowhere and been able to send stuff places. And, I don't know. It's just because no one's ever heard of us and no one's ever heard of Ellensburg. People heard of Seattle and they...
Okay, Van, one more question, and then I'm going to get out of here. Bands coming into Washington to play, do you guys get much exposure to new music, or is it pretty much limited to what's there?
I think basically we got not too much... There's not too many bands coming in because Seattle's the kind of town that doesn't want to hear anything, and they're kind of a bunch of... it just seems like the music scene there is kind of stagnant, and it's the same people in a lot of 80s... quote new wave bands playing with the same people over and over again, and so people have to kind of do it themselves, like Calvin Johnson at K Cassette with Beat Happening, all that kind of stuff. That's kind of starting a new scene in Olympia, which is by there. That got us
How's
going.
college radio up there?
It's okay. It's pretty good. College radio's pretty good up there. That's one plus about University of Washington's pretty good. We haven't really got played at WSU, but Central Washington University, which is in Ellensburg, plays us too, and surprising,
So let's say I'm an average San Luis Obispian, and I'm out on the streets tonight, and I see you guys partying, and I say, hey, what are you guys doing? And you say, we're the Screaming Trees. We're playing tomorrow night. And I say, well, why would I want to go see you guys?
Well, probably because it'll be an experience you'll never forget. Actually, I'm just kidding. It'll be a good show. We like to, we don't believe in vampirism of musicians, and we just like to have fun. And we think that if people come to the show and they come when we're playing, at least they'll have fun. I like Mojo Nixon, and so we do. And so we'll enjoy that. We'll be out in the audience, whatever, with them when afterwards, having fun too. So just come and have fun.
Good. I think everybody's playing on a zoo because it will be. And Screaming Trees is already proving that it will be a zoo just by their representation of Studio B. One more quick question before I'm out of here. Can you explain the song The Turning, which is, I think, what we're going to hear next?
No.
We're not going to hear The Turning next? Oh, well then tell me about it.
Oh, The Turning, what we just heard?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a song I wrote about a year and a half ago before the band got together, and it's on the tape and it's on the album too. It's the only one that's on the album and the tape, and it's just doesn't mean anything. I don't know. Like some of our songs mean stuff, but that one doesn't.
Was it recorded any differently compared to the cassette version?
Just remixed. That's it. Same vocals on there and everything. Just remixed. It sounds a little different. It's a little fuller.
Okay, as the band gets back to their instruments, we will once again hear a couple more tunes from Screaming Trees, who will be live at the Darkroom, opening up for Mojo Nixon, 2 shows, 7 and 10 tomorrow night. So live in Studio B presents Screaming Trees.
Can't take a train, you know they move too slow. Gotta take to the airport where I wanna go.
You're listening to Live in Studio B with the Screaming Trees from Ellisburg, Washington, and we'll be right back after this.
You're listening to Live in Studio B, brought to you by the Music Factory.
And we got Screaming Trees. We're going to just talk a little bit more. They're going to play a couple tunes, and then we'll get into the Primetime Family Hardcore show. The average age of the band, and do you guys go to school?
Not anymore. I'm 24. I'm the oldest guy, and Mark's almost, so he's 21, almost 22. Band's 19. Mark's 18.
So a pretty young group then.
Yeah.
So you kind of like the daddy of the group then?
No, not really. I get pounded on the most.
You get pounded on? I gotta say that if any of you folks are gonna pick up a copy of the album, take a look at Lee's picture in the inner sleeve. It's quite a prolific scene. And I love the paisley carpet that you're wrapped on. Is that what that is? Yeah, it's like a wall. It looks good, and there's books. Looks like you've been studying. That's a nice shot. Your vocal influences. Any singers that you listen to get the kind of range that you like to establish?
Well, I basically have no range, but I like listening to who's that guy for the Guess Who? Burton Cummings, Morrison, Rocky Erickson. Who else?
Captain Beefheart.
Beefheart.
I see that a lot in you.
Really?
Yes.
That's cool.
Trout Mass Replica is probably one of your favorite albums, I'm sure. Van, what are you doing?
I have my watch. I have a hole in my pocket.
Okay. How long you been on bass?
Actually only about, yeah. You see, I told you. No, just kidding. It's kind of funny. Actually, about a year and a half now. I used to play guitar, and when we started this band, I figured, well, I played for a while. Lee played bass, and I said, I suck, and Lee kicks ass over me, so I better play bass. And you can hear on our first tape, it's kind of strange because it's really a weird thing, and I think that's why people, like our producer, always gets mad at me the way I play, because I'm real uneven, I guess. But I can't help it because it's like so sloppy, because I used to play guitar, and I'm learning.
Going over to Mark, the drummer, the youngest member of the band, 18. What are you thinking, leaving home and joining a band, kid?
Well, it's really scary without my parents around. It's like, I don't know if I can trust these guys.
I'd be scared having Lee as my father figure, too.
No, it's really fun. It's been something I've wanted to do since probably 6th grade or 7th grade, and this has been my first opportunity, so I'm really looking forward to it.
Is there a girl back home that you leave?
Yes and no. I better not talk about it, so.
She'll be really angry. So there's no more school in your future then, at least for not right now.
Right.
Well, welcome to Cal Poly. This is a college. They're going to play, what song are you going to play?
I don't know. Other Worlds. This is the title song, right? Title song off our cassette tape that we did a year ago.
Live in Studio B with the Screaming Trees. The song's called Other Worlds on 91 FM KCPR.
Behind, fire in the sky.
been listening to Live in Studio B, along with Killer B and Bruce Floor. We'd like to thank Screaming Trees for coming in and playing. See them tomorrow evening at 7 and 10 p.m. along with Mojo, Nixon, and Skid Roper at the Dark Room. I want to thank Mark, Lee, help me, Van, and Mark. I want to thank them for coming in. Right now, we're going to go to Anarchy Earl and the
Primetime Family Hardcore Show.
He's got it down.
Okay, help you out there. It's 6:56 here at KCPR.